you know what? Jean had, I'm sure she'll show up and Jen may come later and Andrew may come later. So, meeting to order, and I have one copy of the agenda. You've got
I've
one
got it
copy?
ready. Yeah.
Okay, and I can't help you guys with the copies up there. So the first thing is who's here, and I think that's being taken care of. We have Kate and Nancy and Steve and Spring. And that's it.
Yep.
And the table. Craig and Ann. Okay, and we have 2 minutes to approve. 2 draft minutes from January and February. So the first thing we can do is, does anybody have any comments on January's minutes, I guess? All good?
Yeah, I'll move.
All right.
I'll abstain because I didn't read either of them.
Okay, well, you're gonna have faith with us, in us. Steve, were you seconding?
Yes.
Okay, so Craig moved and Steve seconded, and all in favor, say aye, or
Aye.
raise your
Aye.
hands or wave something. The best thing is to ask for no's.
Yeah.
Okay, and same with the February minutes. There you go, Dean's here. February minutes, any comments, draft comments? Fixes?
Well done as usual.
No, nothing like having the recording.
Yeah.
We said what we said. We don't
Very
take-
good.
Can't.
Can't
Okay,
hear that.
anybody want to move that we approve the minutes? I'll move,
I'll second.
all right. February minutes approved, hands up or down? Okay. Nancy, are you approving more or less?
I'm abstaining, and I just thought of something I wanted to let you know that came out of that zoning meeting.
Okay, in a moment then.
Yep.
Hang on to that. And Naomi's here.
You can bump her up to a voting member if you want.
What's that?
You can bump her up to a voting member.
Yeah, she can be a voting member because we don't have her.
Okay. So should we,
Do you need me to vote yes to have it pass?
yeah, you could vote yes if you wish.
Well, I'd wish to vote abstain, but if it makes a difference to having it pass and be done, I'll change it.
I've got Nancy as abstain. It's fine.
Okay.
And Naomi, would you like to vote? Have you checked the minutes?
Yes, I have, and I'll vote to move them.
Okay, good. All righty. That done. Does anybody have additions to the agenda other
Oh,
than?
can I tell you what came out of that zoning meeting?
Yes, okay, well, let's, we'll just
Quick. It's very quick.
take that as an addition to the agenda under new
Well,
business.
it's already got down under new business, the zoning
Oh, is it the
rewrite.
zoning rewrite? Okay,
That means I have to remember and stay awake. Okay. I'll try.
yeah, so it's under new business, no additions to the agenda, so we can move right to new business.
Oh, good. Okay, so yeah, to let you guys know that there are people who want to build data centers, and there were two of those. And they're working on stuff for the there were 2 things. The battery backup, like
Battery storage.
industrial battery backup places. So the data centers are the ones that use so much electricity. It's basically huge banks of computers in buildings that have to be kept cool.
Right.
They generally use water for that in some way. So that's the first thing that they're trying to figure out, how to put limits or how to think about that. And the other thing, the batteries, what they're talking about is something for like a backup for a substation, a battery backup for a substation type of place. And it's what they're talking about is basically a big gravel parking lot with a bunch of steel buildings filled with lithium ion batteries inside a fence. And the deal is, if the fire departments are concerned, but they were saying if there's ever a fire in there, the rule is to just stand back and let it burn. And I'm not sure what kinds of toxins go into the environment when these things burn, but I just wanted you to be aware that those are two topics that they will be addressing before. Did Doug say when it was they were going to be done? I think they wanted to be done and offer it to the board, all their change stuff, by fall or something like that. And they're only meeting once a month. So, okay, that's my news.
So are they bringing in specialists on this kind of?
Well, what they've done so far is they put forward the proposal, or they accepted the proposal to have some of the rewrite go to this company. I don't know, a company that specializes in writing these things. But no, that as far as addressing those two issues, they haven't really talked a lot. They did say that was one of them, I think it was the battery storage place, has already applied to put it somewhere, and they said, well, wait a minute, and so that's on hold. But and they said it had to go through zoning, and the deal is, if it's not in the zoning, they can put it anywhere. But if they zone it into a particular place, that's the only place they can put it. And they were talking about saying the only place it could be is one small place. I'm not sure exactly where, but it would be near NYSEG. I remember that part. It was near NYSEG.
NYSEG?
Somewhere near NYSEG. There's some plot of land that they were going to say that's the only spot, because I think it would count as light industrial of a sort. And they were going to like limit it and say, okay, this kind of thing has to be placed under these conditions, and the only place that's like that is a place that's near NYSEG. So that's that one. The other, but they don't have anything for the any idea of how to write up for the data centers.
Spring, did you want to say something?
I want to try to see if I can add in some information to see if it's helpful. So, and I'll do the data centers first.
Oh yeah, you were there. You did better than me at this.
Oh, I don't think so. I think you did great. So the data centers, the town, we have put a moratorium on being able to do any of the data centers in order to provide, I think we have about another year and a half to understand and identify if they would be allowed at all, and if they would, what would the zoning around that be? This is a very important topic. And at the meeting, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I'm pretty sure what they were saying is the planning board had talked about putting a limit and saying, they couldn't, if we were to allow them, we couldn't allow them to be more than X many square feet. And I was a little concerned and said, well, can we limit and say, but no more than one or something in the town like that, so we don't end up having a bunch of little ones daisy chained together or something like that. And so ergo ensuring that if they would be allowed at all, that they would be very well controlled. And this is a active topic. We have someone who owns property who we have told them they cannot build one while this moratorium's in place.
So they're thinking of the limitation being square footage as opposed to energy usage?
I think that's where the planning board has homework to do because, you know, I think I asked that very question and it came up like, well, you can't limit like amount of energy used because, you know, what if it's the same amount of energy, for example, as a greenhouse, right? Or something like that. So I think there's a lot of legalese that has to be worked through, but it's going to be a 1.5 year effort on that front. But there is a clock ticking that we have to figure it out within about a 1.5 years. With the battery piece, I think my recollection is that there was discussion around that the New York State has a strong initiative to encourage renewable energy storage solutions. So there's a big push to utilize the current battery technology. And then there's this balance of we want green energy in our community, ergo, should we then refuse to allow green energy storage? Because yeah, everything you said, the batteries, the fires, and all of that. So, and the concerns there. So how, you know, what's the responsible thing to do? And my current understanding is there's no decisions being made. This is really the planning board talking and thinking through and explaining that these are some of the big things that we're going to need the zoning consultant to look into. There's a lot more research that needs to be done, and that's part of the work that group needs to do through this process. Really just kind of introducing that these are some of the hot topics, no pun intended, that are that are going to be part of the zoning rewrite. Steve and you guys did those of you who were there, did I capture that appropriately for you? Or did I miss
Steve,
anything there?
Steve, did you want to get in?
Yeah, I just want to, one of the things that with both the battery backup and the data centers, as well as the renewable energy, a lot of it has to do with the infrastructure that's available. And so they will only build those things where they don't have to be running major power lines around. They want to use existing ones just because of the economics of it. So it may be that you know, you can try to zone for certain areas that are by the power lines and that, because even if you don't have that, they're not going to be able to build further out economically, you know, to be able to do that. So,
But they need to consider that if it's near the like a substation,
yeah,
they need
which is
to
why you were
get
saying
far
NICEAG.
enough away from the substation that if there's those fires are incredibly hot and you don't want it to melt something nearby. When our barn burned down, there were things 100 feet away that were catching fire because it was so hot. And that was a chicken barn. You have a battery storage site that supposedly the buildings they build them in are supposed to contain a lot. But, you know, what if? So you don't want the battery storage fire to take out your substation.
Right, and if they can contain flames, but maybe not heat so well. So do they, I mean, are there actually when you're discussing this, are there actually kind of vague sites in mind? I'm trying to imagine where with respect to the NICEAG building.
Well, there is a spot near Nice. I mean, there's that substation right near Pinckney. And what's there? There's that greenhouse there. So that could be a site that might work. Yeah, I don't know of others. Well, actually, if they let it, well, that's not Dryden, but if they did it near that mini substation on Stevenson for all that big solar site.
Yeah,
Anyway, it's a new topic. New.
I would think on Stevenson might be, I mean, I can't imagine putting that far enough away from the substation. Anywhere far away from the substation is in the middle of the actual solar
So-
panels. But, and on the other side, it gets pretty wet. You're not gonna be able to put stuff underground.
Well, it depends how big it has to be. There's actually quite a bit near the substation. I don't think they want to give up their, well, I don't know what Cornell Real Estate wants, but I'm sure that Plant Science does not want to give up their test fields.
The
But,
composting facility and whatnot.
oh yeah, oh,
All it's there is that one wood lot, the one test field and the composting facility, and it's not very far. But that,
I don't know how big they have to be. And it's a smaller substation, so it could perhaps be backed up readily with a smaller battery storage. I don't know. There's a whole driveway going out to the thing. So there is space there to put a building, I think.
yeah, I just don't know what the dimensions of what it means to be far enough away. I have no idea. I mean, I walk that area readily and easily, and the gulls will be very unhappy. So, I mean, the other thing is in a year and a half, the technology is changing so fast. I think it's really interesting to think about trying to make these decisions while all these things are going on under your feet.
They'll have new batteries eventually. They're working on it.
Yep. Okay. Any more discussion other than we wait and see?
Oh, except the battery research is funded by NSF.
It's what?
It was funded by NSF, I believe. Put it in the past tense.
Is that, yeah, past tense?
Yeah.
We have no idea. Right. Although this might be something that they'd go for, because data centers, at least that kind of research, is gotta be a hot topic with the current administration.
Data centers is also all the TikTok videos that are being recorded. They need to be stored somewhere.
Yeah.
So
But those aren't battery operated at all.
No, but, data.
Oh, I think what happens. No, I guess you can turn your computer off and it stores everything. So if the electricity goes down, I think you don't lose the information in the data center. It just can't be processed.
Well, if you've got something, well, it depends on what you're using it for.
Yeah.
If it's just a storage unit, then the storage capacity is different than the active capacities of these things, and it's the active capacities that use so much electricity.
Yeah.
I'll just- well,
Yes, the data centers and the batteries are different topics, so I don't want
I
to
realize that, right?
muddy the two.
Well, no, I
But
was just thinking through of the data centers require electricity to function. And if the electric system goes down because it's got a lot of the green energy and no battery backup and there's a storm, then you end up with data centers possibly shutting down or slowing down or going to
Yeah,
have.
that's one of the big concerns because what we're largely seeing these types of data centers used for is things like either cryptocurrency or you know, like you think about like the servers it takes to run Amazon, and then they install generators for power outages. So there's a lot of concerns around these
No.
data centers, from noise to water for cooling if they were to try to use water, to just total power draw. There's communities that have seen their power rates skyrocket because the competition for electricity goes so high. So
I'm gonna add.
there's a lot of
You have those
concerns.
big generators, you're gonna add emissions from the generators during power problems.
Yep. There's a lot of red flags all over the place. So hence the moratorium to really understand. Sorry.
All right, so they're giving them a year and a half. What did you, how much time?
I think legally we have a year and a half.
And we've already used half a year already.
Oh, okay, well, that sounds like fun. I'm glad I'm not on that committee. Okay, so holding pattern. We all sit on what we think and wonder what we'll think by next year.
They're gonna ask for our input on this, so it's not, you're saying.
Oh, I'm aware of that. I just,
You are on that committee.
well, we're gonna be consulted perhaps, but I'm just saying that I don't really know what I'm being consulted on yet because I don't even know what the questions will be by next year.
No, we need to have it done by next year.
No, I know, but by the end of next year, we will have dealt with questions, some of which I'm not sure I know what they will end up being.
Right?
And we are on alert. Okay, so any other points or discussion or thoughts on that? Jean, do you want to talk a little bit about where we are on Finago tree planting?
Yes. So I think that we all kind of agreed at the last meeting that we'd go in the direction of doing multi-tree planting and moving it to the fall where we have more time to plan and fundraise. So I will reconnect with the Nature Conservancy, confirm with them what we're doing. I think when I originally reached out to the rep there, I think I had said like, we just want to plant like 3 trees. So I want to circle back with her and be like, we're thinking of doing native species. Here's a list of species we talked about, like get the concept. And she wanted me to send her a map of the exact area where we want to do the planting. So kind of like start to narrow that down so that we can formulate an actual like rough budget. So we have a fundraising goal. So I can work on that before next meeting. And then I think maybe the next step will be to maybe contact the Friends of the Rail Trail. So maybe they can advertise this on their Facebook page.
Yeah.
That might be the best avenue to get the word out.
And there was already some mechanism for donating, right?
Yes, so I did speak with, what's her name, Lauren? Who I talked to? Amanda, very helpful, and she, said that checks can come directly to the town as long as we specify. We'll have to come up with a name that will be very specific so that she knows it just goes into this kind of holding account that they have, and then any invoices that deal with that, they will just pay out of that. So then I think she felt more comfortable knowing that we had like a budget, like knowing like what we wanted and making sure we had some money before we like made any purchase, you know what I mean? Like ordered any trees or anything like that. So I think that makes a lot of sense too. And then it'll just feel less rushed. And then we can also talk about if we wanted to put some sort of plaque there so I can look into the different options and so we can know what the different costs are before we get like down a road of like, we really like the idea of a boulder with a thing, you know, just like, okay, well, that's another $4,000 we have to raise or whatever it is. So I can do some of that research before next meeting too, so we'll have something to talk about. And then I think at the next meeting will be in April, right then? I think like April or May, we should probably start narrowing down like a planting date and decide like if we want to do, like, are we just planting it? Is it going to be open to the community can stop by and help plant? Like, how do we want to do that?
And maybe when you're talking to the Nature Conservancy, you might mention like, we've got that one rose
Oh, yeah.
bush in
if we
there
wanna
and whatnot, would we be
remove
able
some
to
things,
do a
yeah.
little invasive control?
Okay,
Because that would be really nice to start that off and.
Yeah.
Because we've said we can encourage the few natives that
Yeah.
are there and.
but we want to pull out, like, there's like a buckthorn, I think, too.
Yeah, there was a buckthorn and a one big rose bush, I
Bush,
think.
Okay,
I mean, I think it would be fun to offer the community members at
Yeah.
least a day in which we
Yeah.
could do some preparation
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
And that might be nice to put in the town newsletter too. I liked what you wrote, Anne, right? I think you wrote it last month and it was like, it summed everything up perfectly.
so when does the next one of that come out? They come out quarterly?
I think,
Monthly.
coming out monthly, and I think,
Monthly.
Cassie is soliciting calls now
Okay,
for
Usually right
for
around the first.
April's, yeah.
so
And
Maybe for the May.
for the May one, let's plan to try to submit something for the May one. Okay.
Yeah, May sounds about right. And we
Yeah.
can have some, and we could even set goals, so, we could always say to the community, we can do this.
Yeah.
If we get this much, we'll
Right.
have this many trees and a couple
Yeah.
shrubs, if we do this, we can have,
Right,
this kind of plaque or not. or
Yeah.
something.
okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think that would be great, I'm sure there'll be plenty to work with.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, so that's where we're at with that. So I have a little bit of homework and I'll try to send some of that info out before the next meeting so people can kind of look at it and get some ideas formulated.
Perfect, that sounds good.
So who should I contact at the rail trail? Does anybody know who their leader is?
Oh, somebody said the other day, who's
So-
doing real,
It's kind
Alice
of,
Green, isn't it?
yeah,
Is it Alice? Should I just
It's
maybe
Alice.
contact
or is
her
it
first?
Alice?
she's one of the major figures.
Okay.
They've kind of
Yeah,
divvied up. Bob was a workhorse,
I know.
so they divided up amongst like
One
3 or 4
Bob,
one
people.
Bob.
6 other people. Well, I'll reach out to her and let her know what we're scheming, and then if she wants to pass it off to someone else within the rail trail to be the point person,
yeah,
Yeah.
and Gwen is probably another person that
Yeah.
could be
I'll
contacted.
keep Gwen in the loop too.
Keep Gwen in the loop, because she was right out there that morning.
Mhm. Okay, perfect. I'm all set.
So, CC reforestation grant,
That fell through. So I did meet Chris out there after our meeting and we looked at the space and I gave him some notes on site conditions and everything and they started putting the grant together and then they realized that that site is just outside of whatever imaginary line was drawn. that-
Oh, really?
So he was like, we can't really include that. So I did end up working with them. We still put in a grant. There's a site out in Trumansburg and there's a site in the city of Ithaca. So they put it in for this round. They kind of found out like just days before it was due. They were like, oh shoot, when they look closer at the map. So there probably will be another round of this funding. So we can always like take a look at the map, like what's in Dryden and maybe just do another look. So the Dryden site got. from the
Were you
grant,
talking
right?
about Campbell Meadows
Yeah,
or,
Campbell Meadows,
and they were also talking about,
part of the
the rail trail.
Yeah, and that was right adjacent to Campbell Meadows, right
Okay.
where it crosses Pinckney there and stuff. So I think I think that little zone was not in it
Not
for some
included.
reason. So I'll circle back with them and take a closer look at that map that was available and see if like within that, there's maybe another town site that might be a good candidate. Yeah, it would have been good.
so DRYC update, you had said something about it.
Yeah, I went to the last meeting. There wasn't any plans presented yet because they had to go back to the consultant and say, we've got to peel this way back. Because there's no money, basically, to do much of anything out here. So they're supposed to come this week. When's the meeting? Is it
Tomorrow.
tomorrow? Yeah, that's what I thought. There's supposed to be some kind of plans to try to get a ball field or two out there at the cheapest they can do. I think that was the opinion I got. They're supposed to come this week and with something. But before, they'd had all these ideas that they could have a building out there for different activities and that kind of thing, and bathrooms, and that all has been nixed because there just isn't money.
Okay,
And the idea is that highway department can do a lot of
front work, and-
the work to build the fields.
right. And nobody knows any grants to go for recreational.
Apparently not, they didn't talk about any.
There is a county grant, that was just advertised, and I was looking at it for a city project, and I wonder, it's like municipal parks and let me see if I can track it down. I'm not sure if it, what it is.
I'm not connected with those kinds of grants.
Yeah, for what it's worth, and I say this is in no way, shape, or form to say we should not apply for grants. But I think that there is a certain amount of anticipation that we may see fewer grants or grants we may see some impacts to grants with what's going on in the current
Right.
federal environment. I don't know how else to say that politely.
Finding a lot of words to describe this.
The mess.
So there's a municipal parks and recreation grant program operated through State Parks website. And it's funded by the Clean Water, Clean Air and Green Jobs Environmental Bond Act. Program guidelines will be available March 19th, so it was earlier this week. Last week, so
What it?
the first round will award up to $10 million. Not per project, but I think that's that's the total money they have to give out. So I don't know if anyone
Fingers crossed.
applying for grants is a lot of work, and it's a 10% matching, I think. Yeah. Or it has been in the past, maybe.
I mean, it might have to be staged, like first, can we have a shelter building, a dugout, a something or other, and then
Parking
build
lot,
on there.
where people
Parking lot,
people aren't walking to the field, it's out here probably.
Maybe different surfaces in sequence.
And I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they're thinking about for fields, because we do have some fields in the Save Ithaca, which I don't like directly manage, but right, like, is it a grass infield? Is it that clay stuff infield that takes equipment to maintain and keep?
I think
weeds and
they're
grass
talking
in order?
grass,
Just
maybe.
grass, yeah, just keeping it simple. Drainage is important.
As long as they're not going for fake grass,
Yes.
which is what my university is going for, just as all of the new information comes out about the toxins and breakdown of the grass and everything. It's like, great, I'm so glad you guys.
People get pulled into the heavy use it can take, because that's the thing with real turf is you have to rest it. You can't be tearing it up all the time. And like less maintenance. You don't have to mow it. You don't have to reline it. You don't have to water it. You don't,
So many things,
I don't know.
but they always have a downside.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
Just polluting the environment. That was it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, well, we're running out of agenda here. Newsletter submissions, we said that we're gonna do a newsletter submission in May to get that. Is there any other ideas for this month? On anything we should be highlighting?
I mean, in addition to the fundraiser,
We're gonna put that out in May, I think. We're gonna get that together and put a fundraising article out in May. So do we have anything for this month though that we
Yeah.
can throw together?
When are you putting
anything
it out?
about what to plant in your for pollinator gardens, or, you know, like a fun fact or quick tips on for things people are doing in their gardens this summer, or
Thing I was thinking of,
don't use toxic poison on your plants to make them grow bigger.
You can plant calendula right now. Calendula can be planted right now.
I was also wondering about, a suggestion of holding off to do the yard cleanup until whatever the point is that is agreed upon to help pollinators.
Or you could tell everybody, take advantage of a relatively late spring, you can still trim up your grapes and you won't see a spot of sap. Speaking from.
Wow.
And remind them of the burn ban
What's that?
out in April.
Excellent. Absolutely.
I wish we could, I keep getting asked and I haven't answered, I keep getting asked to give talks or answer reporters about avian flu, which I refuse to do mostly because I think it's too much of a health issue for them to speak out without having more. Yeah, right, I work with birds, but that doesn't means I know better than you about what not to do.
Oh, ticks.
But,
Be careful about ticks.
oh yeah, ticks.
That they're moving north. I just went to a tick thing that was presented for farmers, and yeah, it's a sad thing. And I've already had 2 ticks this spring.
Oh, I've had ticks. I always have ticks. Take them off. Throw them in the.
They're out there.
Well, this one got embedded in my neck, so.
Oh,
geez.
ouch. Yeah, I mean, we could put together those kinds of things, although, it seems.
It would have to be quick because
Yeah.
Cassie sent the message to board chairs this morning, that she is starting work on the April newsletter.
Okay.
So please send
Well,
it.
I suggest that unless we have something really, unique and interesting, I don't think it's necessary to try to pretend that the conservation board knows more about ticks than some other people.
Well, so at the talk, they were saying they found a lot more ticks on the edges of woods to field, so the border areas.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And in places that were shaded. So like there was a difference. I'm pretty sure it was shaded. I should look it up. Good. It's whether the edge was more shaded or more sunny made a difference. And also that you're going to find more of them where there's mice, and stone walls are huge mouse houses, mouse condominiums. So around a stone wall is also, one of the freeform stone walls there's a higher likelihood of ticks there.
Gosh, but when I go out walking, I walk through so many different levels of habitat and communities and figure.
So
Yeah.
they were pushing that you put the pyrethrin on your clothes and let it dry and have that. They're saying that the dry pyrethrin on your clothes will kill the ticks while not killing your cats. As long as it's dry, you have to let it dry. If it's wet, it'll kill your cats.
I think I'm gonna wash my clothes with some of that stuff this year. I'm just really tired of thinking about it all the time. Especially if it turns out, at least our experience is if you're giving your dog their year-round anti-tick and flea, they get on her and they go, oh, I don't
Can't be
wanna
on
be
here.
here. I think I'll crawl off on this person who's petting it.
So for the newsletter, like, could we do something as simple as like, here's 5 tips for how you can be a conservation champion or something. Don't do your yard cleanup early. Plant one of these 3 things in your yard. I don't know if there's a way to do something just very, very simple.
Tell
To
them
just
why
get
you don't
people
do the
thinking about it.
Tell them why you don't do the cleanup early, because they're gonna say, why? Why should I not clean up my yard?
I think a little article about I mean, I don't have time to do it, but if somebody wants to do a little article about delaying cleaning out your garden and throw in the countywide burn ban into that, that could be a little paragraph to put in there just to give us a presence.
Yeah, and it could even be as simple as like, reminder, support clean air with the burn ban, click here, or information, to New York State, support pollinator friendly plants, click here. I mean, if there's a few links out there, we don't even have to write much. We could just have like 3 quick bullet points. And then people can go for more if they wanted to. I'm just trying to think of how to do something easy.
Right. I have to say, I don't have time to do it. I know what my next 2 days look like. And I just don't have time to even do what I need to do. But I think it's a great idea. If anybody else wants to, I mean, one thing we could do is if each one person comes up with a point and wants to get a good link to something that is pretty, and then just send it around. If we can do that in 24 hours, we could probably get it to her. We could amalgamate them. And I might be able to amalgamate them tomorrow evening.
Sorry, my heater's kind of loud right now, but I would be happy to do the yard cleanup one because I think the Xerces Society has pretty good resources, like easy to use. So I could do that because I already have it. I already have it. I don't have to go find it.
And I think this is one of those things that when you say yard cleanup, it means so many different things to different people, being really specific. Like if you have plants where they have the tall seed heads and stalks, don't take them out yet. There'll be emergent,
Why?
there'll be emergent insects, some of which you'll like.
Break all the leaves out of your garden.
Right. Yeah. That would be fine. And if anybody else has another tip for the time, you can just share it with all of us and maybe we can put it together, see if it comes together.
I mean, I've got one for May, when, the weeds start coming out, and that's to use vinegar, strong vinegar, like 45%, not the kind of white vinegar you get at the grocery store, but you have to order it special. But like I get that from Amazon.
Countryside.
Great.
You can get it, but you can pick it up at Countryside Market in Interlaken.
Oh.
They call it cleaning vinegar.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
I
But it works really good. I mean, it doesn't kill the roots, but it does kill anything that it touches as far as, it's like a broad spectrum herbicide. So
yeah, you want to be careful.
That's a great idea.
handling it too. So people should learn about it before they use it, because
yeah,
they shouldn't, you don't have kids use it.
Don't
it's actually
Right.
very acidic.
Yeah. It's very strong. But it's much better than, using Roundup.
Yeah, Steve, if you wrote that up, I think that'd be a great be a conservation champion.
I was thinking more for May because that's when, the plants are really starting to come out. But I guess I could put it in there for now.
Are you sure that household vinegar won't kill them too? I think it actually does.
Yeah, it's just not as strong and it may not be as effective.
Well,
So.
right, but it's not as dangerous.
Yeah.
Of course, we've got a few of the invasives are sticking their heads up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do early. A lot of lesser celandine.
And tell them garlic mustard is a nice edible.
I think we don't have much time, but I think these are all ideas we
Yeah.
can gather for other ones, but I think if Kate's willing to just do a quick thing about not cleaning your garden out, that's like super topical right now. That's what be my vote.
Yep, if you can throw us a few bones on that one, then we can maybe all come in if we have any other ads and then get it in.
But like,
And
yeah.
then,
And
and then if
point-
Steve's is ready for May, then there's 2 months down right there.
Yep,
Yeah.
oh, we're good. All right, I think
I'll
we
try to
got,
send that out to the conservation board tonight. Cause I think
Awesome.
I think I found the article. And then for fall, leave the leaves, it's right below it. So we're good.
Well set.
Knowing Cassie, I think she'll probably start to finalize things Monday. So
Okay.
you have the entire week to
okay,
pass things around.
I'm also gonna send, waiting for the PR for the school district, but we're doing a village Earth Day cleanup on April 26th. So I was gonna send that to her as well when I have like the PDF of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I've got a random question. Can I ask if you guys are done with that section?
Ask away.
So I floated the idea the other day. I don't know if anyone wrote me back about the idea of having a town of Dryden booth at the Dryden Dairy Days, with the idea being that there could be reps from all the different boards, different groups to volunteer for, info about the rail trail, Q&A about the zoning, kind of like a hub of tons of information in one little spot. But I don't know if anyone would actually like that idea. So you're the ones I'm asking.
The Climate Task Force, I think, did one at the last Dairy Days. I think they had something going there.
Okay, so they may do their own.
But they
Rail Trails
got
had
more.
Things there before too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a way to have like a hub, because then
Yeah.
they cross-pollinate. No,
Well,
pun
one of the
intended.
things that we could do, for instance, is we can ask Grayson at the Community Science Institute and back them and have their literature out and those kinds of resources, because those are, all good
Yeah, they're good.
things to watch
Mhm.
and volunteer opportunities there. So we could think about gathering up some conservation minded ideas and then see if anybody else wants to join in. I'm sure that the climate folks would, because there's a lot of overlap in what everybody kind of wants to happen.
Yeah. All right, well, I've thrown my idea out for you guys to noodle. Because I think that sounds great.
It's always the second Saturday in June.
Second Saturday in June, okay.
I actually will say it this year, because it confused me. It's actually the 14th. It's the second Saturday. Yes.
Yeah, the second Saturday.
Yeah, second. I was thinking it was usually the first, but no, it feels a
No,
little late this year.
Second.
It's Father's Day weekend, so
It's just
Oh.
late.
Yeah, because
Because of
the
where
way
the
the
first
calendar
one was.
hits.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, so second. 14th June. And I can
And I
bring that,
hate to run, but I have to go for
Yeah.
animals.
yep,
I'll see you
and
guys later.
Okay, thanks, Spring.
Yeah.
we'll take any suggestions for anything else that anybody wants to bring up, if we're.
Well, Spring would have liked this. I would, my partner and I took part in the Biomonitoring New York
Oh,
thing. I think there were special invitations, so we got tested for PFAS in our blood.
Oh, really?
I've got PFAS in my blood.
Yeah.
So they're basically, New York State is trying to establish a base
interesting.
on that and to begin
Yeah.
a study from that.
Right.
About where water is and.
Are they doing it geographically anyway?
I think it was all of New York State, and it was random people in different places, I would imagine. So I had to drive up to Syracuse to get tested.
Hmm.
But I was wondering did they ask where you lived or?
I think that's, yeah, our address is,
In terms of,
it was just a random thing in the mail.
Oh,
And
Cool.
yeah, so
that's neat.
So Lauren, it was just a random thing in the mail?
I think the enticement was $75 Amazon gift card.
Wow. Okay,
So, but it was just for science.
yeah. But not anybody could go and do this. You had to be
I think
chosen.
so. I mean, if you got I think if you got the thing and you sent it back, you could be a participant in this.
Oh,
But what was the choice of, the send out may have been random,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so that
Right,
volunteers may or may not have been wished
right,
for in terms of the design of the experiment.
Like, yeah, you don't need everybody from once, you need a
right.
Right,
smattering, right?
So.
everybody from the conservation board.
Yeah.
We have this strange.
Well, that's interesting.
And eerily enough, my partner and I both tested positive for 4 PFASs out of 9 or 10.
Was it the same ones?
No. We differed on 2 of them, so I don't know.
Posers, yeah.
All right,
Wow, interesting.
that's really interesting. I really would love to see it georeferenced.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's okay, well, that'll be something. Are you gonna then be told the report when it
I
comes out?
got something back. I can't make heads or tails out of it. Yeah.
But they haven't finished the report yet, so presumably
yet.
they're still testing.
Mhm.
So that presumably will go out as an alert, at least to the participants first.
Well, I think we got our alert, like our,
Your personal.
Our-
No, but I
Exactly.
meant the report kind of thing. Often when I do a survey, if it's in, especially as a bunch of scientists who are being lured to do this, we'll say, we'll give you a heads up when we've actually
The
published the
results.
results.
oh, okay.
But you can always ask, hang on to the information. Have you published it yet?
That will be interesting to see, like, where the hot spots are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. And scary. I'm not sure I want to know at
I
this
know,
point in
right?
my life.
I know.
I'm hoping that I spent enough of my life before PFAS.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, that's cool. I didn't know they were doing this. Who's doing it?
It was New York State
New York State
Department of Health, I think.
DOH.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Anybody else been contacted on any other interesting scientific studies? Okay. Well, the only thing I have to offer is the news that bumblebees can learn observationally, and they can learn to solve problems, spatial problems and lever pushing problems observationally that they cannot solve themselves.
Huh.
You can train them in
They can't
various
figure
ways,
out
but it's a counterintuitive thing that they've set up so that they have to move a lever so that they're going away from the thing that they want, which is hard for them to learn unless you lure them to do that. So you train the first ones with bait for each step. And then the last ones, you just give them, it's like,
Let them watch what happens.
let them watch, and they go, oh,
Oh, I see.
great.
I see where they're getting at.
Easy.
Bumblebees can do it. And I'll share the link. There's a little film up there.
It's incredible.
So, if we think we're really smart, we should
Watch the bumblebees.
about as smart as Bumblebee.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
so I think with that, is there anything I've forgotten?
I do have one thing. The EMC, is having their, their annual conservation board get together, which is on May 8th. So it's down at Stewart Park, in the pavilion there. Let's see, what time is it at? I think it's at 4:00, 4 to 6 on May 8th. That's a Thursday.
Righty, put that on the calendar. Yeah, we should go. Bob and I went, and
Yeah.
several of us went last year.
Right, yeah. I mean, I'll be there, of course. So, but hopefully some of you can come,
Yeah,
hear
I
what
think
some of the other boards are doing.
it seemed like a good thing to have showed up, and there were sort of
Yeah.
other boards who felt a little isolated, and they were really happy to meet people.
And what's it called, Steve? What's the event called?
Oh, it's just kind of like the I don't know if it's got a real name.
Okay,
It's just you know, get together for
for all the boards.
all the boards.
Okay. Okay,
Conservation board meetup, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. I could probably look back.
Because you know, it's going out to everybody in Tompkins County. You know,
uh-huh.
all the conservation boards or advisory boards in Tompkins County to come out
Great.
and you know and share with what they're doing in their municipality.
I'll look back and try to remember what our draft notes are.
Yeah.
All right. Super. Anybody want to propose that we adjourn? I propose.
I'll second.
Steve can second.
There was unanimous second. All right, thanks everybody for coming out,
Thank you.
and
For
Thanks.
meeting.
we'll look for the updates on our gardens and get that into good shape.
Yeah, thanks, Ann, for running the meeting.
Yes.
Sure thing. It was a quickie.
Yes.
So thank you, and we'll see you guys next month.
Yep.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Everybody.
See ya.
Night.
Bye.